While I've been busting my ass, you're missing episodes? Here's what you missed.
Last time, Mark and Doug fired up the engine for the turbine bronze 1968 Charger, while Dave prepped the firewall for its drivetrain installation. This time, Will suits up to lay out a beautiful coat of B5 blue on a 1969 GTX.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It has been established that the unburied dead are coming back to life. Because of the obvious threat, this station will remain on the air day and night.
So today what we're doing is we got the 64 Dodge A100 outside. Now this is our SEMA build vehicle. We're taking this down to SEMA 2018. This is the one that's getting the Ray Barton built Mopar Performance Block 426 Hemi. We've been waiting for the sun to come out so that we'd be in a position to do some soda blasting. Normally, as everybody knows, we dip these vehicles, but in this case, it's too tall for the dip tank, number one. And number two, it has a lot of boxed in channels. So if it goes in the dip tank and it comes back out, we may not be able to neutralize all of that stuff that would get in those channels. So soda blasting was the actual answer. Been coordinating with Jack from Jack's Mobile Soda Blasting up in Hillsboro to get a day where we actually have some sunshine in Oregon, and he's down here right now to do it. So what I want to do is I'm just going to walk you guys through some of the modifications that we've made to the vehicle and give you some really cool before stuff. A lot of hard to get to areas that would be hard to mechanically sand. That's what Jack's going to do. So let's take a look at it.
So right now in the booth, I have Wes 1969 B5 Blue GTX. This was a car we had dipped. Not much came back from the dipper, needed a lot of work, but we were getting pretty close to having it off to Dave. I'm getting ready right now to roll it outside of the booth, do a nice wash, get all the dust, imperfections, anything that might cause a problem in the final paint, get all that washed off, then pulled back in the booth, run a quick bake cycle on it, then at that point, I'll get it masked up and ready for final paint. This is the first time we've done B5. It's a gorgeous color. I'm excited to do it. It'll be the first one I've done, so can't wait to see it. Now that the car's all washed up and looks beautiful, I'm gonna roll it in the booth, bake it. As soon as it's dry, I'll mask it up and we'll be ready for final paint.
So if you recall, our 64 A100 that I introduced last season was just a peach, no rust, just a really good solid truck to start with. So that's where we began. But as you can tell looking at this, there's a ton of modifications that had to be made. This little rig was designed to hold a slant 6. We got to make it be able to hold an 800 to 1,000 horsepower Ray Barton Hemi. That's a little bit different. So we cut the floor out, the main section of the floor. So this was all opened up through here. All that we had was the original front frame rails when we began what you might call back halving the vehicle. This rail here, this section here, this pan here, those are all part of the original metal of the truck, part of the steel structure. All of this new shiny stuff that you see is brand new boxed in tubing that we've done. So we've got a solid, starting back here, real heavy cross member welded in to the original framework. Then we welded in this box tubing here with cross gussets. These are mounts for the struts for the rear so that we can adjust the height just a little bit of the back end of the vehicle. This will take an adjustable, solid, kind of like a part of a 4-link system. The gussets, these are just cool little designs that I picked up. I love the kind of the macabre theme, so that's what you're seeing with these. Looking at this is a wheelhouse that will hold our 20-inch wide tires. This is all custom fabricated. We are not great fabricators. We don't have to do a lot of fabrication. There are shops out there that do cleaner, nicer, custom fab work than what we do. I get that. And I wanted to do it old school like they would have had back in the day. I really admire guys like George Barris who had no money, no time, no nothing, and came up with things like the Munster Coach and Dragula and the Batmobile. So I've done this all in that spirit. So those of you at home that would like to pick my work apart, have a ball. I get it. But it is strong and it is safe and it is definitely graveyard car style.
This is West B5 Blue GTX. We've just about got it all wrapped up, getting it ready for the final paint, and then get it painted and get the cut and buff done, and have this car over to Dave here in the next couple weeks. Oh, next week. Actually, the next week. I just try to get the whole thing masked up nice and tight. The nicer the mask job is, the less likely you're to have dirt or dust or anything like that blow out. Tighter the mask job, the better off you are. So the better the prep work, the mask job is, the better the paint job comes out. Because you can spend like a month getting this thing ready for paint, and it only takes a few hours to paint most of the time. So everything that you do on these cars is 100% all in the prep work. If you don't mask the car up nice, you'll get overspray in the door jambs and whatnot. So it's just real important just to take your time and just do a nice job the first time. Then there will be no redos or touch-ups.
These two big, heavy braces with these brackets are part of the 4-link system that I got from my friend down at Magnum Force. Again, little decorative gussets. These are cool. Everything was welded solid. You move forward to this crazy looking thing, and this is actually taking the place of the K-member. This is what holds the 426 Hemi. So the Hemi, when it's in this vehicle, will actually only come to about here. This area, I'd say that the front of the Hemi will probably be in line, yep, right about there with this support. Everything else is just seats and interior and cabin. So with the Hemi moved back so far against that rear end, all that weight at the back is gonna allow that vehicle to do wheel stands a lot easier. Everywhere you look, you just basically see new framework. This is original framework here and here. We've just welded it and reinforced it in these areas. Pretty much everything from here forward is the stock original steel that the truck started life as. We just went through and we reinforced all the areas where there were joints. We just wanted to make sure here that this had an extra reinforcement, extra reinforcement, extra reinforcement. But in the end, when this is all painted up, it'll be black in color. It's gonna look like a piece of jewelry. So with that, I'm gonna let him get rocking on doing the blasting.
Stay tuned. Will educates us on how to mix up B5 Blue. Dave begins the assembly of the GTX's rear and front bumpers, while Mark and his cousin Dougie give the A100 a bath after being soda blasted.
I'm Jack with Jack's Mobile Soda Blasting out of Hillsboro, Oregon. Mark reached out to me a couple weeks ago to blast this Dodge, and I suggested we use baking soda. The nice thing about soda, it's environmentally friendly, USDA, FDA approved. It's very safe. It's a great new product out, and I believe it's gonna be the future.
I'll mix up just a small amount and do a spray out, make sure the color's perfect before I call APS and get our 3 gallons coming over. Because if I got 3 gallons coming over and that color is off, that's just a waste of paint. So if the color is off, I can actually tint it here, make sure I get it exactly the way I want. Then I just track how much I use of different colors to get it correct. And then when I call APS, I tell them, hey, here's what I did to get the color perfect. They do that exactly, so then I got my paint that matches perfect every time when it gets sent out to me. I'm excited. We haven't done this color, so I'm definitely excited to see how the color matches, which I'm sure it'll be perfect, and see what this color looks like outside. It's a bright color, a lot of metallic. It's really gonna pop. Because B5 was one of the more popular colors, I'm sure PPG hasn't really refined it and hasn't just completely dialed in to be a perfect match. But before you still order a large amount of paint, it's nice just to get a small amount here, get it sprayed out, and just double check everything's right.
While I'm waiting for the 69 GTX to come over, I'm gonna go ahead and build out the bumper assemblies. I got a beautiful rear bumper here and a front bumper. Got all the brackets, all the hardware, reverse lights, and license plates all ready to go on. The only thing I'm actually waiting on is a parking light lamp lens. And so just my left and right lenses were on back order. Unfortunately, that happens sometimes. So we're just gonna build out what we have and get her ready. What we have here is our 69 GTX rear bumper. This is the one I'm gonna currently build out. Up right here, you can see I got our 69 GTX front bumper. You can see the front bumper is actually really dull and kind of slimy looking. I just wanted to kind of show you that whenever you get these from AMD and you take them out of the box, they have like a wax paper on top of them. And the reason they do that is they put like an oil coating on there, put the wax paper, then package it up in a box to keep the bumper from rusting while it's in the warehouse. So once you clean them up, they'll look like this, you know, minus the fingerprints, just, you know, beautiful and shiny. So we go with the Restorer's Choice on these, and we've had really good luck with them. They're a beautiful product.
In 1970, the Plymouth Barracuda Grand Coupe and Dodge Challenger SE came standard with an overhead consolette. That code was C26. The consolette had a dome light and 3 warning lights that lit up at the front. Door ajar, fasten seatbelt, well, those were 2 of them. What was the 3rd one? Was it low oil, low fuel, low battery? Stay tuned after the break. I'll have the answer for you. All right, ghouls, how did we do on this one? It's a C26 overhead consolette. We know it had 3 warning lights. I gave you 2 of them. What did you guess for the last one? If you said low fuel, you're absolutely right. There was a little box, a little low fuel sentinel box up in behind the dash that would receive the signal when that gauge started getting low and kick that light on overhead. The other 2, they were very interesting. The seatbelts themselves, they did not work off of any kind of a sensor or a switch. It was a time delay relay that as soon as you turned the key on, that light would shine for maybe 20, 30 seconds, and then it would go out. As far as the last one, the dome light, those worked off of plungers, very much like the ones at the front of the door. They were at the very back edge of the door. So there you go.
So one of the first things we do before we even paint a car is we got to make sure the color is correct. So I'll head into the reference room, I'll type in B5, get the little label, it tells me what's in it exactly. So right now we're in the reference room, jumping on the computer here, type in old B5, and get ready to print me out a label so I can go back and make some color. I use this all the time, but mainly when it's a color I haven't done before. Some of the colors, you know, like the FC7, the ones we do a lot of, you know, we know are good, but when it's the first time doing a color and you don't know what to expect, just come in here, mix it up, print out a little label, tells you exactly what goes in it, what to do. So I'm gonna head back out to the mixing room and get this thing mixed up. All right, so right here in my hand, we have our label, what it takes to make these colors. You know, when a lot of people, you guys see, you know, blue, you know, you think, oh, well, it can't take that much. So we're just gonna take like a quick minute here to kind of give you like a rundown of what actually goes into these. So like right off the bat, we got a metallic toner here. Seems simple, no problem. Right after that, takes a second metallic. So right now, right off the top, we got 2 silvers that start this color. Then jumps over with a blue, but we're not done. It gets another blue. So that's 2 metallics, 2 blues. We get done with that, then we jump over to green, then our black, then our white, and then there's kind of a clear agent that goes inside of it. So you're looking at like 7, 8 colors between the silvers and the blues and the greens that go together just to get B5 blue.
While I'm waiting for the 69 GTX to come over, I'm gonna go ahead and build out the bumper assemblies. But first, I gotta get all my carriage bolts in here. So what I have here is a stainless steel carriage bolt. You can see the actual cap on them is stainless steel, and this actually you can get with your bumpers. There's a bolt kit that you can get. What I'm gonna do is start dropping them in. As you can see, these have got a square head on them. They're called a carriage bolt. So you got a round top, then you got this little square right in there. And if you look at the bumper, you can see a square hole actually in the bumper. So the purpose of that square bolt head and that square hole is so that when this carriage bolt goes in, it locks into place, and then you can run your washer, your lock washer, and your nut from the backside, and it'll keep that head from spinning. And plus too, it gives it a beautiful, nice, clean appearance, you know, on the front there, so you don't have a big bolt head on there. So when those drop in there, you can see they're almost flush, give it a really nice, clean look. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop some of these in here. You want to drop them so they turn and they sit all the way down. You don't want them to sit up on that edge, because when you start tightening them up, they're going to catch and they're going to mess up that square hole. All right, so I got all my bolts dropped into place. What I like to do is I take some tape and I put tape on all the heads of these bolts to tape them in place like that. So whenever you flip the bumper over, all your bolts don't fall out. So there, I got all that on. When I flip these over, you can see all my bolts are sticking up there. Got my bumper brackets here. Now the B-body bumper brackets for 68 to 70 are pretty unique. You can kind of see how they go in there like this, but I'll kind of explain to you a little bit. You can see that this has like a female channel inside the bumper bracket. Well, on the back of the car, there's actually a male channel. So it has a bump out and it'll actually fit right into this. This is that male bump out I was talking about on that bumper bracket. So that bumper bracket's got the female and it'll snap right up against that. And that'll prevent that from going up and down, because it'll lock in there like that. So with that piece in there, it perfectly locates your bumper on the back of the car. So it'll snap right into that channel. Then it's got an oval oblong hole where this whole bumper unit will slide. So you can see this hole's round, this one's oblong, this one's oblong. So you got a little bit of adjustment to kind of move your brackets around on your bumper itself. So you kind of find a happy medium there on your bumper. And then when you install this on the car, it gives you enough play left or right to get it centered and to get the proper reveal that you want on the back of the car. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one on this side. And it's nice having those bolts taped in because they don't fall and flop all over the place.
Stay tuned. Dave continues the build-out of the rear and front bumpers. Mark and his cousin Dougie treat the A100 after its soda blasting. And Will preps the 1969 GTX for its final coat of B5 blue.
So this is our mixing booth. It's a pretty standard one. You know, it holds about 60, 70 toners on it. And what it does is the paint, if it sits, the paint will settle. So if it's a metallic, if you don't stir this a couple times a day, that metallic would drift all the way down to the bottom. And when you pour it, it's not a clean pour because you actually don't have it mixed up. And once you do that, then that toner's ruined. So we've always done it twice a day. I do it first thing when I roll it in every morning, I stir this, and then I do it after lunch. That way every pour that I do is always consistent and correct.
So far, Dave has begun the build-out of the rear bumper for the 1969 GTX, while Will prepares the car for its final coat of B5 blue. Now, with the A100 completely soda blasted, Mark and his cousin Dougie give it a bath in vinegar.
So we just got our 64 Dodge A100 little dead wagon, all media blasted. They used basically it's a baking soda. Same kind of stuff you make your Girl Scout cookies with. We're out here because we need to neutralize that soda. Use vinegar, basically the same vinegar you use in your house, you would use to neutralize all the baking soda that's on the truck. So Doug and I, because it is warm and it is hot outside, we're just gonna tag team it. One of us will spray the product on, the other one will steam clean it off. Once it gets completely neutralized, it'll be wet. We'll have to move it inside, blow dry it, get it all dried off. Then Will can start working on epoxying the outside of the body, and I can start working on the body work, the much needed body work, all over the undercarriage of this. This thing's gonna look beautiful from top to bottom. It's gonna look shiny and beautiful from head to toe. What do you think?
I think so.
I think so too.
I concur.
Dougie once wanted to buy a 1970 Dodge Charger that belonged to a guy named Don Puzio. It was a RT 440 4-speed. And when he came back from a road test, he goes, man, you won't believe it. That thing lifted the front wheels off the ground. A stock 440 and a 70 Charger that weighs 4,200 pounds. So, well, congratulations. Anyway, with that, are you ready?
Yeah.
Let them duct tape. Let's do it. Got it, got it, got it. It's pretty well balanced. These Whirly jigs are awesome if you take the time to balance them, which not everybody does. Great. You got your stuff, the vinegar?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's see what that looks like. Put it on, I don't know why you're doing that. Put it on a little mist. You went crazy. It's not a pissing contest. Crazy, man.
Ready?
Yes, go.
Oh,
A little more, okay. I don't know why I'm working with this guy. I want my money back. I want my money back. Whatever it is. Okay, how about like that? You just coat it real nice,
cool.
just like that. Just hose that mother humper, okay? All the way down, all the way down. Doing a good job, Doug.
Thank you, Mark.
Woo, that smells like Easter eggs.
Yes.
So do my farts,
Oh.
for the record.
While I'm waiting for the 69 GTX to come over, I got a beautiful rear bumper here and a front bumper. Got all the brackets, all the hardware, reverse lights, and license plates all ready to go on. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and move on to our reverse lights. Now the reverse lights are pretty unique. We get these ones from OER, and the cool thing about these reverse lights is not only do they fit our 69 GTX, but they fit a 69 and 70 Dodge Charger. So what's unique about these here is their retainers. They take this little horseshoe, this stainless steel retainer. So if you're ever taking your bumper apart, don't lose these, or you're gonna have to make them because you can't buy them, you can't find them. At least I haven't been able to find them. But these will actually go on the back side of the bumper when that light drives through, and that's what your screws actually go into. So you can see when this goes in there, that thing just spins around and around and around. There's nothing to bolt it to. With our little retainer in the back side, you can see how those go right into where the holes were, and it fits on the back side, so when you drop your light in there, and line those up and your screw goes in there, it's gonna lock it into place and it's not gonna fall out. All right, grab a couple of screws here. Make sure our light's rotated the right way. Make sure we can see our holes through the light there. Start those in by hand like that. Little screwdriver here. Just kind of snug them down, so I want to make sure I get this thing turned kind of where I want it. Same deal as the other side. Get our retainer in there. Drop our light in there and spin it the right way. Start it in there. Just snug them down. So there you go. Here's our reverse lights. Okay, and I'll clean all that up later, get fingerprints everywhere.
Two of the most legendary induction systems in muscle car history came from Mopar. The 426 Hemi was dual 4-barrel carburetors. The 440 came with a 6-pack in 1969 and a half. True or false? The dual 426 Hemi created more cubic feet per minute of airflow, or CFM, than the 446 pack. Think you know the answer? Stay tuned after the break. All right, my ghouls and ghoulettes, how did you do? Did the 426 Hemi dual 4 carburetor setup create more cubic feet per minute of airflow than the legendary 446 pack? If you answered false, you're correct. Here's the breakdown. The 2 Carter 4 barrels on the 426 Hemi, each one created 625 CFM, the total of 1,250. The 446 pack had a center carburetor that it ran on all the time that was 350 CFM, and 2 outboard carburetors, each at 500 CFM, totaling 1,350 cubic feet per minute of airflow. The 446 pack wins. Okay, let's do the bottom of the car now. Good, good, good. Good. And I'm gonna start rinsing. Look at all that. Yeah, roll it a little bit. Right there. Okay, we flip it. Flip it, and flip it good. Crack that flip.
Yes, sir.
So now we're going to go ahead and move on to our license plate light. And our license plate light's going to fit right into that slot there. You can see I got this one all detailed out. So we'll go ahead and put this in here. This will slip up underneath of there. Get our screw started here. Like that. Okay. Then what we have there is our license plate, flip down. So you can see that'll flip down like that. So then you can access your fuel. GYC rear license plate that is available in our store. There you have it. The old flip down license plate. So there you have it, our completed rear bumper assembly. Got, of course, our reverse lights in there, all our bumper brackets, all our polished bolts, and of course, license plate light, rear flip down license plate holder, which will allow you to access your fuel. So there you have it. Rear bumper assembly complete. So now let's move on to that front bumper assembly. Put this baby over here.
So in the booth, I have Wes 1969 B5 Blue GTX in the booth, ready to go. This is the first time we've done this color. It's a gorgeous color. It's a nice, vibrant blue. I don't foresee any problems, so I'm gonna head in there, get the base coat going, get that knocked out, clear coat it, and get this car off to Dave here soon. So I just finished the base coat on our 1969 V5 Blue GTX. It took me all day. Came out great. I got 8 hours into it, and now we're gonna move on and get the clear coat going. I just finished clearing our 1969 GTX. Car looks great. Hop in there, do a nice, beautiful cut and buff on it, and then get it over to Dave for assembly.
So got our front bumper assembly all cleaned up, all ready to start building it out. Just like the rear bumper, I'm gonna start with my bolts first. Drop those in there like so. There's 8 bolts going in the front bumper here. Unlike our rear just had 6 on the face, 2 on the bottom. Get all those there dropped in. All right, so tape on here so our bolts don't fall out when we flip it over. All right, so we got those on. So we will now flip this bumper over like so. Unlike our rear bumper, which was a 1-piece bracket, our front bumper assembly has a 2-piece bracket. So you have 2 pieces per side of the bumper. It's really cool. AMD does a fantastic job reproducing these bumper brackets. You can see it's got the Pentastar and the part number on it, and it's really neat. We're gonna go ahead and build our left side out first. You put a bolt in there, and what that does is it holds your bumper brackets together. You don't wanna get carried away and tighten that down because you still want movement in here. So when you put it on your bumper, you can get it all set. Once it's on the car and everything's tight, then you can really kind of crank that thing down. So this being my right side, if I look at my bumper, it's inverted, so it's upside down, so I'm gonna stand on this side of it. This will be my passenger side. So this is the side this bracket will go on. So I'll come over here. I got all my washers and everything all set up. So I'm gonna set that down there on my bolts. All right. A couple nuts on there like so. All right. So got my bolt set up. Same situation here. I want to drop that right on your studs. This is loose, so I got a little bit of play. Drop those on there like that. Spin them on there. It's nice. There's a lot of adjustment on these brackets. And then on these bumpers, all these brackets are intended to do is to slide left and right. So you have that oblong hole. They're not a huge hole. They're not round, not shaped like a crisscross where you can go up and down side to side. Just mainly for left to right adjustment. All your up and down is gonna be done actually on your front frame. So when you get those bolts in there, you can pivot that bumper up and down to get that set, and then you'll set your left and right. So bumper brackets are on and done. So what I'm gonna do is rotate this bumper right back down where she was, just like that, okay?
So right now, this is Wes' 1969 V5 Blue GTX. The paint job came out great, but like normal, we gotta do all the cut and buff on it. So right now it's we started at 800, then we stepped it out to 1200, and right now I'm going to go, jump over to 2000. Once the whole car is done with 2000, I'll go ahead and start the buffing process. This car will be like glass. You can't really buff out 800 grit, so you have to step it out. The finer you step it out, the quicker it is to buff. So if you spend an extra day or two, get it all sanded out really nice and thorough, it buffs way faster. When I do all these cut and buffs, I try to do the best that I can. I stay off all these peaks because if you sand it and then you'll hit it with a buffer, you'll burn right through. So I sand as high up as I can with getting the paint still nice and flat and not having to worry about burning it. And even when I go to buff it just to be safe, I'll still take a piece of tape over any peaks, run that over it, and then that way we're protected. It's really easy to burn the paint on these cars, so it's just easier to just be safe, take your time, mask off everything that you need to mask off, and then you'll be fine. It's funny when customers bring their car in, they bring it to them because they want, the OE. That's what we do. That's what Mark's known for. We're great at it. The one thing they don't want OE is the paint. So, well, it would be great to just go in, spray these cars, and kick them over to Dave. I don't get that luxury. So everything else can be all original, but not that paint. They don't want any imperfections on it, so we got to make sure it looks like glass. I prefer doing the cutting and buffing. I don't like doing it, but it's nice to turn these cars out and have that nice flat finish. With that being said, it would also be cool on some of these more rare cars to just leave it OE, leave it with a dirt nib or orange peel, just to really make it look like it's a true survivor. So once the buffing is completely done, I'll push it outside, get it all washed, looking good, bring it back inside, then I have to mask it up, do the undercoating. As soon as that is completely dry, I'll unmask that, and then from where these holes are down goes flat black. So I'll get that painted, unmask it again, get it all cleaned up, and then finally pushed over to Dave.
So we got our rubber bumper. We're gonna put in our bumper right here. That sounds good, rubber bumper for our bumper. Well, there you go. Here's our two parking light assemblies here. Have a left and a right. This is what I started with. You can see a lot of rust gets in there. And these housings were originally black on the back part of this here. And of course, this was all silver. And then of course, that silver argent inside to create that reflectiveness that you need to actually project the light forward. This one works both ways. It works as a parking lamp and as a front turn signal. So you can see the difference of how nice they look when I get them done. Well, it's just what we do here. We take original parts and we make them new again. Now, the way these things are gonna go in here, you can kind of see as they'll snap into that hole, they'll like bite on the edge of that bumper. So I'm gonna actually start it on the top edge here, and I'm gonna get underneath it here with the screwdriver and try to pop that bottom one in. Like that. See, so once that pops into place there, it just stays in that bumper, kind of moves around just a little bit, but those little jaws will clamp it right into place. Get my wire pigtail out of the way there. Get these all tightened down, like so, and then I'll go ahead and put in my new bulbs along with my new gaskets and my new lenses when I get them in. So there you go. Two parking light lamp assemblies placed into the bumper. All right, so just one more thing to go, our unique Graveyard Carz front license plate. So there we got the front bumper assembly, all complete. Transfer it over here to my done rack. There you have it.
Upright?
Yeah, upright. Just straight. Right there. Perfect. Yep. Go ahead and rinse that side. Yeah. Suds. He called them suds. Andy likes suds. Okay, so what we're gonna do is move it around, blow it off, dry it, and then we'll get hold of Will and we'll start prepping it out for epoxy. A job well done, gentlemen. All right, let's rock.
So right now I'm about halfway through the buffing process. I got the other side completely done, and we're just kind of wrapping it up right now. Car is coming out amazing, no issues. This is a bright color, and I'm just real anxious to get this outside, get it washed, and see how pretty it's gonna be. Really haven't had any issues. You know, you can see I got it taped up here so I don't burn the body line. I've already buffed the top, so then I mask this up so I can go down here and buff the bottom out. It's 3,000 grids what we finish it in, so buffing it will actually go pretty quick. It makes that shine come right back really fast, gives that metallic nice, and it really pops real vibrant. So yeah, I just gotta take my time, work my way through it, and have this thing done here soon. So the only thing I got left is this side, half of it. Got the door, fender, and quarter. I've already done the upper part, just gotta knock off the lower, then this thing will be ready for a bath. Bring it back in, and then I gotta get the thing undercoated, and then I have to get the blackout done around the whole thing. So this right here, it's ready to go. It's masked up. Like I said, it's finished off in 3,000, so the shine, it buffs out pretty easy. And we just kind of take our time, don't rush anything, and stay away from the edges as much as possible, and just kind of work it. So you can see this area here looks really nice. There's no more sand scratches in it. Might be a couple few ones. I'm gonna go over it again. But you gotta make sure you're really thorough, because even though this looks like it's all buffed out and it's done, it's not quite. So just take your time. You're gonna be here all day doing the job. That was one thing Mark's always stressed about, is don't rush. Just take your time, use the lights, check every angle, make sure that looks good, and then double check it before you move on to the next portion of it. So I got the 1969 GTX all buffed out, took it outside to give it a quick wash. Car looks great. Got it back in the booth, came in early this morning, got it all masked up, so we got the blackout done. This is the second blackout we've done. Manning's GTX got the same thing. So we've kind of had back-to-back cars that are almost identical outside the color. So when you do the blackout, you can't bake the car because it needs time to actually die back. If you bake it, it'll come kind of blotchy. So you have to really give it its time, where with the paint job, you could just bake it, pull the car out in a matter of hours. But this, you have to actually let dry naturally, so you get the nice even sheen to it. As soon as that dries, we'll unmask it again, then mask it up again so we can get the bottom undercoated, and this car will be over to Dave. So today was the day. I finally got this car 100% finished. It's our 1969 GTX B5 Blue. Came out gorgeous. So I got it over here, got it put on the bin pack so Dave can start his assembly. While he's doing that, I'm gonna go back, spray the hood, spray the deck lid, and I'm completely done with this car. It's painted, it's buffed, it's been blacked out, and the undercoating is complete, so my job's almost done.